سلام به همه همراهان عزیز کانال اسرار تاریخی. با یکی دیگه از مجموعه ویدیوهای تاریخی و کمیاب محمدرضا پهلوی در خدمت شما هستیم. شما در این ویدیو تصاویری می‌بینید از گستاخی مصاحبه کننده شبکه CBC در مقابل محمدرضا و جواب دندان شکن شاه ایران در مقابل این خبرنگار گستاخ و ساکت کردنش با جوابهای خودش که در رسانه‌های جهانی اون زمان بازتاب گسترده‌ای داشت. این مصاحبه‌های شاه ایران نشانگر قدرت و اهدافش برای شکوفایی ایران و قدرت نمایش برای کشورهای خارجی بود که به ایران و ایرانی احترام بذارن. ولی تنها کسانی که گول خوردن و متوجه این قضایا نبودن خود مردم ایران بودن و بزرگترین ضربه رو شاهنشاه از مردمی خورد که اصلا انتظار نداشت بازیچه بشن و بهش پشت کنن. و شما در این مصاحبه متوجه همه این قضایا خواهید شد. بریم که با همین مصاحبه جنجالی رو ببینیم. قبل از اینکه بریم این ویدیو خیلی مهم رو ببینیم، اگر هنوز عضو کانال ما نیستید از پایین همین صفحه همین الان عضو کانال ما بشید و حتما زنگوله کانال رو بزنید تا اولین نفری باشید که از ویدیوهای ما باخبر میشید. و ممنون میشم با لایک ویدیو و اشتراک گذاشتن نظراتون با ما و ارسال این ویدیو به دوستانتون هم ما رو حمایت کنید و هم دیگران رو آگاه کنید.
Possibly the most powerful single individual in the world today.
I have only two arms. But the strength comes because what I represent to my people, if they like it or not. You can't keep on the way you were doing because the old way was a little exaggerated.
Do you think our inflation in the Western world is our own fault?
Not mine, anyway, because it started well before we increased the price of oil. You built your progress and your affluence at our expense. So you can't say that we increased the price of oil all of a sudden because for 20 and some odd years, maybe 24 years, we have just been terribly exploited in a very mean way.
But weren't you a kind of partner to that exploitation when you signed the oil agreement of 1954, for instance?
Well, we had no choice. What else? We were starving, and we had to start doing something to build the country. We had no choice. They dictated to us, they decreased the posted price of oil when all the price of commodities in the world were on the increase. And they were telling us, well, take it or leave it, and we had to take it. Now, things have been put right, and the price of oil is still so low that you have not yet started to mine your coal mines and liquefy the coal and gasify the coal, or even go in a big way in the development of your nuclear energy and find any other sources of energy.
But how much does it actually cost for your country to produce oil? In Canada, it costs us a great deal because we have to get it out of the Arctic. We have so many natural barriers to it. But you're just pumping it out of the sand as you've always pumped it out.
I don't think that this is a very fair question because you are paying more your workers, so you have the right to ask more for your oil. And furthermore, then you are blessed with other things. For instance, you can grow wheat so cheap because you don't need any irrigation. You get all the water from the skies. You don't have to spend any money on the irrigation of that when we have to do it. And that's why you and the Americans are feeding the world with your wheat. And all of a sudden, your wheat that was sold for $60 a few years ago, you sold it for $245 last year or the year before. So your question, I don't think, is fair.
What you're trying to say is that we are asking more for our commodities the same way that you are.
Yes, exactly. And why? I don't know why you think that you are superior.
Do you think that we generally suffer from that, the feeling that we are?
I think that you are, so far, maybe, but probably you will change.
Why will we change?
Because your eyes are opened. Fundamentally, you are not unjust people. You have just been living in an unjust world for so long but you will accommodate with the new realities of the world. We won't be pushed around. We don't wish a war. But if it is imposed on us, we will not shrink. For the next 20, 25 years, it's absolutely vital for us because the Straits of Hormuz, which is the entrance to the Persian Gulf, is our jugular vein. We live by that. And furthermore, our forces which are there are not just for the Persian Gulf. They're just stationed there. They could serve in any direction. Nobody could invade us without being forced to crush us, because we are not going to surrender. What excuse will you have to come to these oil-producing countries? It will be barbaric, without any precedent in the world, the worst imperialistic movement that the world had ever known. How could you do that? And it's strange that it's absolutely normal for other countries to have even more arms than we have. And you start to talk about our force when you find it so obvious and normal for other countries. I can't quite make this out.
Is it perhaps that the Western countries are just not used to thinking of Iran as a major world power in any terms whatsoever, whether it's dealing about oil or whether it's talking about an army?
Yes, maybe you're right. But they will have to cope with this development soon.
You're noted as a very strong authority figure in Iran, and yet you're extremely popular with the people. Somebody said to me that if there were a referendum held tomorrow, 90% of the people would vote yes for the Shah and all his policies. Why then do you need to be so authoritarian if you have this kind of popular support and warmth towards you?
Well, first of all, it's more than 90%. Secondly, what do you call authority? To enforce the law? To make such fantastic, drastic changes without bloodshed? If you call this authority, I don't think that my people mind that. They want it.
It's been said that there are some 20,000 political prisoners in Iran.
That's not true. We have about 3,000 and not more. Some people have even said that there are between 25,000 and 100,000 political prisoners.
You deny this?
Do I deny it? First of all, it's our business and not any of their business. But the truth, the reality is that we have not more than 3,000.
And how do you define political prisoner?
These Marxists.
Does torture happen in Iran?
Well, this is a question that was put to me more than once, and which I don't like at all. Because it's so ridiculous that I don't have to answer that. But for the sake of this interview, I will say that we don't have to torture people. This is the way that unsophisticated organizations were doing things. We are as sophisticated as you are now.
Sophisticated in methods of interrogation.
Yes.
So that torture, fingernail pulling, people being toasted in wire mesh, which we were reading about in the English papers.
English papers. There is one paper, and I find this disgusting. And I don't really appreciate at all a serious organization like you repeating trash that you can see in one paper in one country. Why do you have even to repeat that?
It has, because it's been very widely reported, and the Sunday Times in Canada anyway is not considered to be a trashy paper.
That article was trash if you read it from the top to the bottom.
So you categorically deny that?
Yes, and I don't have to deny it because it's none of your business, but I do.
You've often said that you have never sentenced to death anyone who has attempted to kill you. How many attempts have there been?
One but he was killed by the security people. Then the second 5-6 people were involved. They were all pardoned by myself. And indirectly we know that there have been some attempts which did not materialize. And they have been also pardoned. And this has been my policy and probably will always be my policy. I forgive when anything concerns me personally. And I can't do it when it concerns the country and the state.
Are you ever afraid when you make public appearances?
Never. First of all, I'm not afraid of anything. Secondly, I know very well that I will be around as
مرسی که تا انتهای ویدیو همراه ما بودید و ممنون میشم نظره خودتون رو حتما برامون کامنت کنید. راستی ویدیو قبلی ما که درباره سفر صدام حسین به ایران و مانور ارتش شاهنشاهی در اروندودست رو به هیچ عنوان از دست ندید. و اگر به تاریخ بدون سانسور علاقه دارید همین الان عضو کانال ما بشید و زنگوله کانال رو بدانید تا ویدیوهای تاریخی مهم بعدی رو به هیچ عنوان از دست ندید.